Have you ever dealt with a pathological liar? Well, yes, you have. I can guarantee that you have, because every time you turn on the news and you hear Joe Biden speak, or Karine Jean-Pierre, or as a matter of fact, anyone from his administration, Alejandro Mayorkas, anybody who's a radical or a Dem. And by the way, I'm not just going to point my finger at Democrats. There are some Republicans that are just truly on the same team, in the same bed with many of these Democrats. Now, granted, not as many Republicans. The entire Democratic Party is a problem, which is the reason why Tulsi Gabbard, if you haven't heard her podcast with me, you need to. I interviewed her several weeks ago, and it is a phenomenal interview. You just got to hear it. But it's the reason why the Democrats have created this kind of divisive environment. They are pathological liars. They are consistently dividing our nation. They are creating a problem even when there isn't one. For example, the border, right? So even if they are your friend or a family member or somebody that you've dealt with in the past, there has never been anybody that has lied more than this administration to the American people. They manipulate and they lie with impunity. And they do so at the expense of the American people. And part of that right now is this insane executive order that President Biden claims is going to help America stay safe. We're not safe because of him. And by the way, this executive order for the border I'll go through it in detail, but it is filled with lies. And in fact, it's filled with so many loopholes. People have literally compared it to they could drive a truck through the loopholes in this executive order. It's that bad. It is just that bad. I think our government has failed us on such enormous levels that it has put the life of every single American at risk, even when they occasionally try to tell the truth. You can't risk believing them because they've already lied to us so many times. This is very serious. I want to be able to just, joke around about it, right? We see, Biden drooling on himself. We see him trying to sit on a chair that doesn't even exist. Or some people thought he was pooping his pants. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, because the executive branch of our government is filled with liars. They shut us down during COVID. They lied to us. Now all we have to do is look at the hearings to see what's going on, to see how we were lied to. And then everybody's like, okay, that's the past. Let's move on. No, let's not move on. Because who is going to pay the price for what they have done to our country and what has not happened yet to our country because of their actions at the executive level? If America's leaders actually cared about freedom, actually cared about us, if we were actually the most important thing to our leadership, would they allow an open border? I want you to think about this. Would they allow a border to remain wide open so that people from all over the world, including our adversaries, could come in and attempt to harm us? Maybe they're planning it right now. Maybe somewhere in America, there is a group of terrorists huddled in a house, somewhere in a small rural town, in a big urban city. There's a group of terrorists planning to target the American people, planning to target a building, planning to target a university, planning to target a parade, much like the Boston Marathon bombings, like 9/11, like the Madrid train bombings, right now, because President Biden and his administration have allowed this to happen, and they're planning it right now. And guess what? Neither Biden nor Corinne Jean-Pierre, nor Alejandro Mayorkas, nor any of these Democrats, nor nor are their CIA, nor their FBI. Nobody is going to bring your family member back when they are taken from you. Maybe right now they're planning on implementing Sharia law. Maybe right now they're planning some guy that's a criminal that's been allowed into our country, planning on targeting one of your family members. Just watching them going for a run like Laken Riley. Maybe there's somebody who's been let in, who's been kicked out 10 times for DUIs and robbery. And they're going to drive their car drunk down the street again. And you know what? This time they're going to take out an entire family. Could be yours. I don't want to sound alarmist, but we've got to. We can't pretend that this isn't happening. These are unnecessary deaths and the possibility of an unnecessary major terror attack on our soil because our government does not, frankly, give a shit about you or I. They don't care. And they're lying to you. And this executive order is a lie to you. It is a major, major lie. Earlier this week, he signed this executive order only because the election is around the corner and he has failed on epic proportions. He says it's going to secure the border that he made insecure. But it's not going to do anything to stop the problem because, folks, this is their master plan. Their master plan is to leave this border wide open. They are globalists. They're ideologues. And this is what they want. This is just an extension of President Obama. Right now, a new report came out from Fox News Digital that found that several prominent members of the intelligence community may leave the country if Trump wins the 2024 election. This is so awesome. One of them is a guy that I reported on over and over and over again until, thank God, he was fired under Jeff Sessions at the time, who was a miserable failure as well as the AG. But this one thing that he did was right for lying to the inspector generals. He heads the FBI and he lied to the inspector general. He lied to investigators. He lied to everybody and he spied on President Trump. These people will stop at nothing. That is why they are so terrified of President Trump coming back to office and exposing them he should go to jail. He should go to jail. There should be a whole list of people that should go to jail because, in my opinion, they committed treason against the president. They knowingly lied. Why? Because they are liars. These are pathological liars that will do anything and everything to keep their power and to keep control of their kingdom that they have created, this shadow government in Washington, D.C., that is in the swamp. It lies right below the top of the swamp in those murky waters where they operate with impunity at the expense of our nation's constitution and our families and our future. We're going to get to the bottom of all that and so much more on the Sara Carter Show today. But first, of course, let's talk about MyPillow. You can't get enough of MyPillow. And it's not just pillows, folks. I mean, I've got the little dog bed below my desk right now where Macy Daisy Buttercup sleeps. I've got the two big dog beds. My husband's guide dog, Danny. Yes, he has a beautiful guide dog named Danny, who we love very much. He sleeps on the big MyPillow dog bed. We've got MyPillow slippers. We've got MyPillow sheets on all of our beds. Our kids are here. They're enjoying those beautiful soft sheets. And we've got towels in every bathroom in our house. MyPillow towels. Why? Because this is a great American company. This is somebody who truly cares. Mike Lindell, he truly cares. So let's do it. Let's buy MyPillow. And with the dedication of his team, listen to this, folks. They've expanded their offerings to include hundreds of products. And that's with promo code Carter, Carter. And they're going to spread the word that they won't be a part of any cancel or woke culture. They're hosting, listen to this, a $25 extravaganza. It's going on now. Use the promo code Carter, Carter at mypillow.com to get the sale price and free shipping on any order over $75. Let me tell you again, here's some $25 values. 2-pack My Pillows, My Pillow sandals, luxurious 6-pack towel sets, and brand new 4-pack dish towels, small dog beds, beach towels, so much more. Offer is Carter, Carter. That is what you need. The promo code offer is Carter, Carter. They've got Giza Dream bed sheets, queen size now for $59.98. You just can't beat that. Go to mypillow.com or call 1-800-685-7221 today to get in on the $25 extravaganza today. Be sure to use code Carter to get the sale price and free shipping on your order over $75. Call 800-685-7221 or go to mypillow.com, promo code Carter. Again, mypillow.com, promo code Carter. Okay, Biden's executive order. Let's talk about this for a little. He signs this executive order out of desperation, right? He says, today I'm moving past Republican obstruction. So he's trying to blame the Republicans for his border disaster. It's his, he owns it, and using executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Let me tell you something. He came into office, he immediately opened his arms up to every single person that wanted to break the law by entering our country illegally. He removed all of President Trump's executive orders, which remain in Mexico being a major one. He removed all of that and said, we will not be turning people away. We are a nation that is going to open its arms to basically everybody in the world. And they were like, awesome. Thank you for being such an idiot. We're heading your way. And that's what they did. Armies of men, armies. I was down there on the border of Honduras in Guatemala. I watched what happened. I've been down to the southern border. I saw the armies of men, not women and children. And granted, that happened. And we had a lot of undocumented children who came in here and unaccompanied minors. But it was mainly men from China, men from Iraq, men from Mexico, men from Nicaragua, men from everywhere in the world, Guatemala, everywhere. Africa coming into the United States, special interest aliens, which is very, very important because that means these people are coming in unvetted from countries that have direct ties to terrorism. And we cannot properly vet the people that are coming in. And then what about all the gotaways? So this executive order that President Biden has now put into place to basically kind of cover up or lie to you as pathological liar, to tell you that he's doing something to protect the border. Let's go over it. So this presidential proclamation, and this is coming from Fox, will temporarily, it says, suspend the entry of migrants across the southern border once the average border encounters exceeds 2,500 a day over 7 days. I want you to think about that. 2,500 a day over 7 days. This is so ridiculous, you guys. They're not even stopping him now. Bill Melugin was just down at the border. He was watching this mess unfold. He was interviewing people from Egypt, from Jordan, from Africa, I could just keep going, from different countries in Africa. He is like, nobody's stopping it. And everybody's getting processed. And then just like when I was down at the border, he follows them. He follows them all the way to the bus stops where after they are processed by Border Patrol, they're just set free into the country because there's no way to vet them. What are you going to do? Call, President or dictator Assad in Syria and be like, hey, I've got 3 Syrians. Or, hey, I've got like 10 so-called Egyptians. Maybe they're from Egypt. Maybe they're part of a terrorist organization. I have no idea. Maybe they're from Syria. I have no idea because people are coming all the time. By the way, Syria and Venezuela have very close ties. So if there are people coming from Syria into Venezuela and then those people are leaving Venezuela and then coming to the United States, well, okay. They're here now. Once again, like I said at the top of the show, they're probably sitting somewhere in an apartment, maybe in, Kentucky, somewhere in Kentucky, maybe somewhere in Virginia, in Fairfax, Virginia, maybe somewhere in Los Angeles, California, working with another part of their sleeper cell, getting ready to prepare for an attack on the United States, which, by the way, only the American people will pay the price for, not our government. They do not care. I don't know how to get this through to all of you. I really hope you understand what I'm saying here. You have to be the one to care, because the people who are in office right now do not care about you. They do not care about your children. They do not care about the future of this nation. They just do not care. You know what they care about? They care about themselves. That is all they care about. They care about their power and their money and the walls around their house and their big bank accounts and their Versace suits and their contacts and their connections. They do not care about you. And if you go to work and you ignore what is happening outside of your own little kingdom, your own little home, then we will only have ourselves to blame, folks, when that bomb goes off, when our children die, because we have people in office that truly do not even think about anything but themselves. Let me read this to you. Now, this is from Fox News. This is very important. This executive order, that part of the executive order right now for the $2,500 a day over 7 days, that will stay in effect until 14 days after there has been a 7-day average of less than 1,500 encounters along the border. Now, remember, if they don't count people, if there's gotaways, they got away. They're not counting them. Sorry. They got away. And that is what happens quite a bit. It is accompanied by an interim final rule from the Department of Homeland Security and Justice. That rule will also apply a higher standard of migrants must meet for initial asylum screenings. None of that is happening now. I want to tell you, none of that is happening now. The move brought criticism from Democrats as well as Republicans and a threat of a lawsuit from the American Civil Liberties Union. Such BS. Why are we not allowed? There is no war in Mexico. You want to talk about wars? Talk about the wars on our streets in Chicago, in Baltimore, in Los Angeles. You want to see the war on our streets? Go to Kensington. Jason Jones, he's with me on Border 911. He's been there for the last 3 days. I've been to Kensington in Philadelphia, where fentanyl has permeated our streets. And the worst of the worst narcotics, thank you, China, using proxies like Mexican drug cartels. And, Jason sending videos to us, and it was just so horrific. I can't even begin to tell you what I saw, and it's getting worse. There was a woman sitting in a chair, literally shooting up heroin and fentanyl in her arm, and the top part of her thigh was completely eaten away by the narcotic. Her entire upper thigh, all of the skin down to her muscle was exposed. And she was shooting up with her entire thigh, muscle, meat, everything exposed. I just got back from El Salvador. I didn't see that there. I've never seen such horror as I see on the streets of the United States of America. Our children are dying. Our cities are falling apart. And these idiots in the White House expect us to believe these lies. And then you have the ACLU and, saying, oh, well, you know what? You're not being fair. You're not being fair to the migrants. It doesn't even matter, guys. This is all theater. They're just lying to you. This is theater of the absurd at its finest. Theater of the absurd at its finest. And we're the joke. We're the joke. We're the joke. Let me read this to you. Finally, this bill, right? This bill. and rule comes with a series of significant exceptions. In addition to not applying to legal immigrants, it also does not apply to unaccompanied children or to those judged to be quote unquote victims of severe forms of trafficking. Big loophole. It also doesn't apply to those who schedule an appointment with the CBP One app at a port of entry, where about 1,500 enter each day. You see what they're doing, guys? Do you see the lie? There was also an exception for those who are allowed to enter based on the totality of the circumstances. My husband beats me up. My neighbor's a witch and she's casting spells on me. Okay, come on in. Come on, welcome to America, which includes urgent humanitarian or law enforcement considerations. I'm not making enough money. I'm starving. I don't know. The police are coming after me. Look at what President Bukele has been able to do in his own country. And by the way, people leaving El Salvador now, that has dropped by 60%. I mean, people are not leaving El Salvador now. That is safe. That he's locked up a lot of those prisoners. Now he's looking for building a better economy, working with the United States, working with neighbors to build a better economy. He wants 100% of El Salvadorians to stay in El Salvador. Why? Because they are his most important resource. We're not the most important resource to our government. Listen to this. Finally, this bill, it allows for the entry of non-citizens due to operational considerations that warrant permitting a non-citizen to enter. I just want to say that again. It allows the entry of non-citizens, quote unquote, due to operational considerations that warrant the permitting of non-citizens to enter. Guys, it's basically saying we're going to do everything we've been doing already and more so. Now they've actually laid it out so that people can know that they will be allowed in this country no matter what. So all those Egyptians that just crossed over that Bill interviewed, they're going to stay here. They're not going back home. Unless they ping on the terror watch list for some reason, they will not be going home. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas challenged the assertion that, the cartels and the smugglers are receiving a green light message from our government, because they are. So Mayorkas tries to challenge that. Well, Republicans, Stephen Miller is awesome, by the way. He worked with President Trump, and he was the one behind, Remain in Mexico and all of that. I mean, Stephen Miller's done a ton of work on this. This is what Stephen Miller said and what Mayorkas challenged. Stephen says, so the message to the cartels and the smugglers is you have the greenest of green lights to smuggle trafficked children into this country, into various forms of servitude, slavery, sex trafficking, labor trafficking, all forms of abuse, imprisonment, and torture. Yes, Stephen, my friend, you are 100% right. That was the green light. And Alejandro Mayorkas says, no, we're not giving it a green light. He says these cartels are unscrupulous. They're way more than unscrupulous. They're vicious, they're demons, they're horror. And we have basically aided and abetted the cartels under this administration. They have grown to be not just, some kind of gang. I mean, under this administration alone, they've made hundreds of billions of dollars in human trafficking. They are organizations, folks. They're like as big as Microsoft, as big as Google. They have resources that outnumber, outman, out-resource logistically and every other way our own law enforcement, federal law enforcement on the border. They have semi-submersible submarines. They have communications channels that are the top of the line. They have the best equipment in the world because we have allowed them to do it. We have aided and abetted monsters. And again, I say that's because they do not care about you. You are not their most important resource. They would never allow this to happen to their own children. At least they think their kids are okay for now, but that's just for now. And I'm talking about these radical Democrats and these Republicans that do not care. Because eventually something's going to come home to roost. And our nation is going to pay the price. Every single one of us. Every single one of us. And I'm going to show you how big these liars are. I mean, it drives me nuts. But first I want to play, this is Senator Kennedy. Who are you guys like me? Do you not love Senator Kennedy from Louisiana? I think he is probably one of the most well-spoken, funniest, and I'm talking like important guys in our Senate. Listen to this.
You know, I have seen the good side of politics, but I've also seen the dark side. I spent 25 years in the major leagues of Louisiana politics before I was sent down to the minors here in Washington. I have seen the good side, but I've seen the dark side. And this is one of the most cynical things that I have ever seen a politician attempt to do 5 months before an election. It is insulting. It is cheap. It is contemptuous. The American people see that. And I hope you do too.
He's brilliant and he's right. It's the dark side. It's like, watching Star Wars, right? And the rise of, the Sith and the lies, the permeating lies, the setup, the theater. Making matters worse, this executive order will not have any real effect on the current border situation, as I've described to you ad nauseum in detail. Here is David Noriega of MSNBC explaining, and this is MSNBC, which I usually call MSDNC, explaining how toothless this order really is.
Based on the details of this executive order and how it actually functions that we've learned so far today, I actually have to say I'm quite skeptical that this is going to have any kind of immediate, widespread, dramatic impact on the border, on the number of migrants who are crossing the border, and on the number of migrants who manage to stay in the United States as a result. And there's a few complicated reasons for that.
He's absolutely right. And I would have gone even further. And I brought up Bill Melugion's clip quite a bit, but I want to play it for you now because I want you to listen to this. I want you to see this, how ineffective this border executive order is. He was at the border yesterday. Do these migrants at all seem concerned that they are going to be expelled from the country or returned back home? Take a listen to this.
No change whatsoever. It is now day number 2 of President Biden's executive order being in effect here at the southern border, and we are seeing no impact on illegal crossings whatsoever. Take a look at this. This is a group of 200 that have just crossed here in Jacumba, California, part of the busy San Diego sector, some of them being loaded up on this Border Patrol bus right now. Off in the distance, I'll have Brian, my photographer, pan off. You got another 100 or so waiting to be taken into custody by Border Patrol here. Some men from India here, from Nicaragua, from Africa, some from the Middle East. I can tell you we just came from another location where we had a bunch of guys from Turkey and Vietnam waiting. It is very busy out here in San Diego sector this morning, as again, there is no fear of this new executive order which bans asylum for most illegal crossers with certain exceptions.
No fear. Bill Melugin, his report is absolutely right. These people are not afraid. They are not afraid of being turned back. Why? Because the cartels know they won't be turned back. These cartels have amassed billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. They have some of the best lawyers in the world. They have politicians in their pocket. They have blackmailed people in the intelligence community, no doubt. They have people in law enforcement in their pocket. The more that our government, which is our executive branch, allows them to perpetuate this behavior, because our policy is to be wide open, our borders wide open without, I think it's purposeful. I think they want all these people here. So they're working hand in hand with the cartels and the traffickers. They are aiding and abetting the cartels. And these cartels know that. So they have lawyers that come and visit them at their palatial estates in Mexico and wherever else, in South America and Colombia, wherever they're at, in Europe, who knows, in the United States. And these lawyers are like, yeah, look at that executive order. This executive order is crap. It doesn't mean a thing. Continue the operations. The American people are the idiots. That's what they're saying. And the government doesn't care. So they make hundreds of billions of dollars, and all the while, terrorist organizations and adversaries like the Chinese government, like the Iranians, the North Koreans, the Russians, whoever, whoever wants to be our adversary, they're milking this too for everything they can get. They are weakening us, they are breaking us, and we are the ones allowing it to happen. How can we be so mad when we're allowing it by putting people in office like Biden and others who care more about themselves and the money that they're pocketing? Because guess what? They are as corrupt as hell, folks. They are so corrupt. They do not give a rat's butt about you or anybody else. I'm going to come back with more and I'm going to show you that corruption. You don't want to go anywhere. But first, Goldco. Are you concerned about the endless flood of illegal immigration at the southern border? I am. How about the $1 trillion being added to the national debt every 100 days? It's no wonder thousands of hardworking, patriotic Americans, including myself, are learning how to protect and diversify their retirement savings with precious metals. That's why I've partnered with the top-rated company, Goldco. Listen to the current offer. Get a free 2024 wealth protection kit and learn how to possibly get $10,000 in bonus silver as a listener of this show while supplies last. Protect your family's financial future and freedom. Get started today at Sara, SARA-likesgold.com or call 1-855-823-GOLD. Get your free gold kit from Goldco and learn how to get $10,000 in bonus silver. Sara, SARA-likesgold.com, 855-823-4653. That's Sara, SARA-likesgold.com or call 855-823-GOLD. Okay, so to the most important part, which is last but not least, right, is the former intelligence officials that are saying they are going to leave the country if President Trump comes into office because of fear of retribution. This is so crazy. When I saw Andy McCabe, who I cannot stand, and he knows who I am very well because I believe that he was, ordering people to watch John Solomon and I when we broke all the stories on the Russia hoax that he was behind, and others like Comey, Clapper. By the way, I was talking to someone who knew Clapper way back when, and said that guy was the biggest idiot in the world. Couldn't believe he was the head of the National Security Council, Association, the NSA. And here we have, Clapper, Comey, Andy McCabe, Brennan, all of these losers who targeted President Trump, who actually targeted you, the American people, now saying they're terrified that President Trump's going to come back into office and expose their disgusting lies and what they have done to these agencies. Is that what he's worried about? I remember, this is a funny story. I actually ran into Andy McCabe. It's, for those of you who remember, I covered all of this back in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20 on Sean's show, where we exposed the Russia hoax and the Christopher Steele dossier and all of that mess. But Andy McCabe in particular, because Andy McCabe was behind a lot of this. He went after General Flynn. He was the one that was directing everybody at the FBI to, I believe, and I know he did, spy on President Trump. And now he's claiming that many members of the intelligence community are fearful of a potential second Trump term, saying Wednesday that some are even considering fleeing the country. Please frickin' do. Just leave. I will pack your bags for you. Get out of the country. Get out of America. You have destroyed this country. You were fired, Andy. And only your cronies helped you get your retirement back. But you were fired because you're a liar. You lied to the inspector general. You lied to the American people. I can't even believe that you are, a contributor on CNN. I can't even believe that John Brennan got a contributorship at MSNBC. I can't believe you can just, without any embarrassment, after what you've done to our country, just sit there and act like you're the innocent victim in all of this. He literally makes my blood boil. McCabe brought up Trump's vow to his supporters that he will be your retribution, and said that this will manifest in really dismantling and greatly incapacitating the Department of Justice and the FBI. Please do. Because as far as I can see, There are some really great people at the FBI. I'm not going to take that away, but you are way off track. The entire Bureau is off track. Investigating parents at school board meetings, calling people who go to Latin Mass a threat to the American public, investigating military, our wonderful military servicemen and women who are sick and tired of seeing this country turned inside out by radicals. The bureaucracy and the DOD spend more time worrying about if a guy can wear high heels on a naval warship than they do about the safety and security of this country. They put your children at risk by opening a border wide up, but then spend, untold hours, months at a time debating new rules and regulations for the DOD and the FBI and the DEA and everything about whether people are using the right frickin' pronouns or not. If this doesn't make you mad, I don't know what will. If this doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. Those 51 intelligence officers and officials that signed that letter saying Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, all those people were involved in election interference and should go to jail, or they should be charged. I don't know, whatever. They lied to the world. All those people involved in Christopher Steele's dossier, a knowingly piece of a lie that was spread globally, a piece of disinformation that put our president and our nation at risk, should all face charges. They utilized the tools that we have trained our intelligence operatives to use against enemies of the state, enemies of the United States, against a sitting president of this country, a duly elected president of these United States. Whether they liked him or not was beside the point. They do not make the decision for me. I know they don't make that decision for you. Again, it's like, go back to Star Wars, right? It's like, remember the whole thing about the Sith and, Darth Vader and that whole story. This was all about them saying they could make a better decision for the Republic than the Republic could make for itself. That's exactly what these people think. They think you're an idiot and I'm an idiot, and they have to make this decision for us. But it's more than that. They are trying to protect their own corruption. They are trying to hide their own malfeasance. That is what they do. That is how they operate. Andy McCabe and all of them. McCabe served under Comey, and he was directly involved in the whole Russia-Trump hoax. They were so bad. They had spies inside the White House giving them information on the president. They were so bad. They were trying to destroy President Trump at every turn. What they didn't realize was that President Trump is stronger than that. He welcomed the challenge as much as he hated it. He said, you want to come screw with me? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's take this to the public. Because President Trump knew something so radical had happened within our government, that it had been so broken that the Constitution was at risk. And that is why he is running for office. He is not doing it for himself. I guarantee you that. I guarantee that he is not doing this because he wants to spend, the most senior years of his life working his ass off. He's doing it because he absolutely knows how dangerous this system, these guys have become, this bureaucracy, the FBI and the DEA and and our DOD, that there is rot inside them that needs to be exposed and it needs to be removed. So guess what, Andy McCabe? If you want to leave, I got a one-way ticket. I'll buy it for you. You could go anywhere you want. One-way ticket. The catch is you can never return. If you want to leave, we'll buy that one-way ticket for you. I'm only buying it for you. I can't afford your whole family. So you have to pay for that. Anyways, you know how I feel. I'm all worked up. I'm ready to save this country. November can't get here fast enough. Folks, if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, give us a like and a follow. Please do. It means a lot. It actually affects our algorithm. Download this podcast. Very important. If you download the podcast, it makes all the difference in the world. Changes the algorithm, allows me to bring on even better guests, get better advertising. It's all about what we do here in America. We are working for a better future. Let's do it together, me and you. Please make sure you're subscribed to the Sara Carter Show. Remember, on any podcast app, download it. We really appreciate it. Follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official, on X at Sara Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless our great nation. God bless the great state of Texas, and God help all of those who have worked against the United States have the money they need to get on an airplane and get the heck out of Dodge. See you next time.